Let's get to the money.
Let's get to the
Money.
Let's get to the
Money. Let's get to the motherfucking money.
Fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. FTV screaming fuck the bookies, 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 fuck the bookies. FTV screaming fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. Middle finger in the ass, screaming fuck the bookies. Woke up in the morning, grab my little black book. Yesterday can eat a dick, cause we lost by the hook. Can't win them all, so you never see me get shook. Today's a new day, the bookmaker's getting cooked. When I spot a dirty keg of 4 units getting played, always find the value, I would never be afraid. Scared money don't win, but I'm not going all in unless I see a bet I love, then I put my balls on a bookie's chin. Let it all soak in, doubling my bread, winning money with my friends. If you got the itch and you wanna go big, follow Sharpie bets and you gon' really fucking win. This is not financial advice, it's entertainment. But if I find the right price, believe I'm parlaying it. You can see my spreadsheet, I'm winning, not just saying it. Profit in the green every week, I'm never negative. I can bet an ace or a shitty old picture. Pick the right spots cause I'm the K-pop whisperer. Shut up when I speak until you finally get the picture. I'm the best in the world, tell me you getting richer. Fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. FTV screaming fuck the bookies, 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 fuck the bookies. FTV screaming fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. Middle finger in the air screaming fuck the bookies.
Let's get to the motherfucking monies.
Let's get to the motherfucking monies. And happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the best MLB prop show on God's green earth. I'm your host, Sharpie's Bets, and it's Friday, so you know what that means. We got the only guy I talk Cape props here to have our daily conversations in front of you on camera. I know him as Chris. Y'all know him as Spin Doc. How you doing, my guy?
Good. It has been a good week. Very good week. Tout prop is still winning damn near every time. We had just a great week in VIP. I think closing in on up something like 20 units for the year now. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and there's a lot of good spots today. My initial cut down, I normally cut the list down to about 5 or 6 finalists that I go deep on because, as you know, Sharpie, I cap every pitcher. Today we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, almost 10. And then including 2 more that I want to look at too, but I got to make cuts because I'm not trying to have a 10 play card. I'm not trying to have a 9 play card. That's a good path to ruin.
Man, I'm trying just to have a 2 or 3 play card right now, man. Cause I got to pull the trigger. And
there's ones I like.
When I told you last night, I was like, bro, we're going to talk about this guy. And I was like, you're like, I'm down, bro. He's been all right. I was like, I know, bro, but I don't think I ever would have thought about talking Ryan Weathers in my fucking life. But here we are, Friday the 7th, talking Ryan Weathers. But we got some other things to talk about, guys. And man, oh man, is this the only sport going right now or what? Because we got fucking traps, titties, call them what you want, sitting around left and right, guys. So appreciate you guys all who tuned in. On this show, guys, we're going to talk the opening lines of pitching props as well as the closing K prop lines 30 minutes prior to the show going live. So do me a favor, if you like what you're hearing, smash that like button. If you're new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button as well. We've got something on this show, fellas, called the Titty Capper Play of the Day. Not saying you're going to freaking lose every time, but you do not want to be on the same side of the public. And this is what we're talking about. A little bit of puppies in your life, everybody. Chris Sale at the National, striking people out at a 30.5% clip, while walking people 3.5% on the year. Morning line was freaking stupid, guys. 6.5 at plus money. Best line available now is still 6.5 at plus 105 on DraftKings. Pitching out 17.5. Minus 200 juice to the over, whereas earn runs are at a 1.5 minus 115 each way. The projected lineup is 7 righties, 2 lefties, as lineups are starting to fly out right now, but Do not believe that one is. Reports Juan Soto will be okay, undergo further testing. So no Juan Soto, obviously, tonight. But we'll talk about that when we get to Yoshi. Usually, guys, on this show, my guy Spin will talk first, and I will talk last. This is going to be the one time, or one of the few times through this show, where I'm going to talk first. As me and him had a good 30-minute conversation on the phone this morning about Christopher Allen Sale, guys. As it is almost like a national holiday on this show when we have us Chris Sale, as Christopher Allen Sale Day is really a thing. And now he gets the Nationals, who actually, over their last 200 plate appearances versus lefties, they're not walking. They're actually striking out guys at a 24% clip and have the lowest isolated power I have ever seen in my life of looking at numbers in baseball. So they ain't hitting anyone. And they got a pissed off Sale as he's coming off of his worst start of the year. So let's go see who these Nats have seen in this time span that I would bet on. Max Fried went 8 innings of no-run ball, struck out just 6. Then they've seen the Mets, Mariners, and Twins, all who don't have a lefty I'd go look to bet. Missed Logan Allen in the Cleveland series, and then Christopher Sanchito, a ground ball pitcher. 7 innings, 2 earned runs, 8 punch-outs. Garrett Crochet, he had a solid game, but only 6 strikeouts of 5 innings, no run ball. So pretty much, guys, what I'm getting at and noticing is anywhere from 6+ strikeouts, and they're not getting more than 2 runs off of any lefty, let alone one of our lefties. So this should be an easy over, right? Then why the fuck did we get a 6.5 hit plus money to a team striking out 24% of the time and has hit this 7 of his last 10? And I believe if you go look up some of these titty cappers, they're going to tell you every road start that he's ever had this year as well. They're going to back you up with numbers left and right why you should be playing this. And yeah, the books are not dumb. And neither of these two guys on the screen. We figure shit out, guys, and I heard some shit during the game last week how his slider just wasn't breaking. He had every A's batter with 2 strikes, 5 straight 2-strike hits in that game. So I hit up Spin this morning. I'm like, bro, I know you go game by game. Can you go check out Chris Sale slider? And I'm going to let him go from here, guys, as he did all the work from here. I'm going to pull up a chart that he did put together while we were talking and go.
Okay, so Chris Sale, the chart that you see on your screen is by start, the average horizontal break or movement of his slider. If you know Sale at all, he is, it's pretty easy what he does. He sets you up with the 4-seam fastball, which does run at about 94, 95 miles an hour, and that hasn't changed. And then he wipes you out with the slider. The slider is his most off-thrown pitch to put people away and carries an insane whiff rate right around the 40% mark. But look at what we have here. If you look, this is by start. Look at the 5 starts on the right. The line that you see, even though it's a little blurry, because I know it doesn't translate from a copy paste, the line that you see, the blue line, is his average inches of horizontal break on his slider. Notice a trend? Well, yeah, it's plummeted. For the season, his last few starts have only been a few, the percentage that it's going to show is a few inches under average. But if you look at this, the total number of inches that it's fallen is gigantic. When you have a put away pitch that you need to run left to right horizontally, you need this horizontal break. Now, the other set of data, which is the bar, the kind of the reddish bar, I tried to use Braves colors, is the maximum number of inches that his slider horizontally breaks. So you see the 5 last starts, the one that pops on the bar, his first to last start, which was against Pittsburgh. It looks like maybe he's back, but you have to remember that's the max. That means he threw one pitch, one slider that had that amount of horizontal break. But you look at the average and it's way down from where it was early in the season. Now, you might couple that and say, okay, but Spin, he's still striking guys out. Okay, true. The last 5 opponents that he's faced are Seattle, Boston, Pittsburgh, Oakland, who he didn't even hit it against. San Diego was legit. However, their lineup, that was a Monday lineup, and they didn't have some of their regular guys in. Then you go and look at who he's K'ing, who he's K'd a ton when his slider was working. Philly, Arizona, Texas, Cleveland, Miami, who actually makes good chase contact. So the point here is that since May 1st, his slider ain't right, guys, and you can tell right here. And when you compare it to a spray chart of Sale's sliders, that's where these things run. Go watch a video of it. Go watch a video of his slider. He tries to run it left to right, and he can try to paint the outside edges. If you can't do that, what teams can do, because he only throws 2 main other pitches, which would be a 4-seam fastball, which is decent but not overpowering, and he can't run it up to like 98, 99, and a changeup, which his last start, he only threw a few of. So he's going to have to change the way he pitches. He's going to have to go 4-seam changeup, which for a lot of teams, especially a team like the Nats, does not equal a lot of strikeouts, or he's got to all of a sudden magically reclaim this horizontal break on his slider. Because if you're running a slider as a lefty, and I'm right-handed, but when you run it left to right like that, goes like this, that's what you're trying to do, is paint the edge, or to people who bat from the right side of the plate, you're trying to go wipe out down and away to get a swing and miss. If you can't do that, then you're not going to strike anybody out, and you can do exactly what Oakland did, which was sit, as Sharpie calls it, dead red, which is right in the middle of the 4-seam fastball. Now, I couple that with when I go look, and so this is why I tweeted it, but this is why Sharpie and I win at this shit and other people don't, because last 8 of 10 and fucking averaging 7.72, those are all great numbers, but they don't mean as much as when you go deep like this. So you go and you look and you see the Nationals projected lineup, and you see what their whiff percentage is against the slider. Now, there are a few of them that have a very high whiff percentage, like Joey Gallo. They're fucking batting Joey Gallo, who's a lefty, against a high K lefty. What you'd essentially be doing if you did that was you'd be sacrificing that spot in the order. You may as well just say, okay, we're only going to have 8 offensive spots tonight because this guy's either going to make weak contact or K every time he's up. They don't need his glove that badly. If they do, then honestly, they deserve to get torched. But you go and look at the rest of the lineup, guys that'll be in. Keibert Ruiz, 20.5%, and league average is about 33, 34. Vargas, 21%. Joey Meneses, 27. Jesse Winker, 28. Even guys like CJ Abrams, who has a 33% average to whiff percentage to sliders, but he only Ks against them 21% of the time. His 2-strike contact against sliders or put away pitches is elite. You go through all of these things, and it's really not that easy to see why Chris Sale is of 6.5. And actually, some books, people were claiming that they got a 5.5. I never.
I see people in the chat talking about they saw it last night, juice 5.5, and they were scared. I saw it in the chat. We were talking about, I'm like, bro, people were actually giving out 5.5s last night, and that means there was juice 5.5s. If you bet a 5.5, I mean, the guys had 6 in every start this year, but 1. I mean, golly, bro. I mean, I hope you cash it. But there's only one way me and this guy will bet this tonight, guy, and it's crazy to say I would ever think of betting Chris Sale. Oh my God! You'll hear it from us more than anybody else, guys. You don't want to be on the side that the books are, that the public's on. These books are billion-dollar businesses. Do they win every time? No. But 70-80% of the time, yes. So figure out what the books are seeing, and then if you see what they're seeing, go with it. If you can see your own angle in, then ride with it. I saw the angle on Freed, and I pied out, and the fucker got 13.
Nope.
But at least I dug in and seen it, guys. And it's like understanding, why are these numbers low? What are they doing? And did they fuck up? And these books ain't fucking up on a guy named Chris Sale. He's too public of a bettor, guys. So if you went balls deep, put your mortgage rent on it, Go cash out and put 1 unit, guys. Be very, very careful of your unit size in a spot like this. Anything else?
Yeah, just a real quick item of note, just about how books set lines, specifically when it comes to player props, is that the majority of them are set using past history, average, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Basically all the stuff that trend bettors pimp to the moon. However, this is where they trap people, and it's on popular lines. And Sale will for sure be popular. He always is. The Dodgers and the Yankees game, which I know we're going to talk about that in just a minute, will be popular because it always is. Stuff like that, they know where the money's going to come in. So if there's a place to set a trap, that's where you're going to see it. You're not as likely to see it in a fucking Colorado Oakland game because nobody's going to bet on it anyway, except for, maybe people like us, because I cashed a Colorado pitcher on an over against Oakland. But what you have to understand, because I saw this, one of my VIP guys, shout out to Berg if he's listening, actually showed me something from another place that he's in, and it was, people were saying like the books are overreacting. Okay, let's just stop that shit right there. The books have $1 million algorithms to fund their $1 billion bankrolls. There's no fucking emotion involved. There's no emotion involved in setting lines. It's a mathematical algorithm, and not only is it based on the numbers that I talked about, it's also based on what do they think they can get the majority of the public to bet on. So if you set a line that is ridiculously low on a pitcher like Chris Sale, what you're doing is you're saying, come on, overs, come on. We're wide open. Give me that over money. Give it to me right now. Because if you look, most sports books, if you look at like the pregame report on a game or whatever it is, what will they give you? They'll give you trends. They'll give you averages. They'll give you the basic percentages. Do you think, I used this analogy the last time I was on here about offering insurance on blackjack. The casino doesn't have to offer insurance on blackjack when the dealer has an ace, but they do. Okay. They offer that bet. And then for people wondering, should I take it? Unless you're counting cards, unless you have a true count of +2, that's a different story. Unless you're counting cards. Okay. Do you think they would offer that if it was a bet that loses them money? And that's where I talked about in my tweet for this show. You have to think about it differently. You can't just go look at averages, scream to the hills that he's hit this in the last 15 of 17 Friday games when the start time was 6:43 or later, or whatever the fuck people use. You can't think about it that way. You have to go ask yourself, if it seems too low, why does it seem too low? And if you can't find any discernible reason for it using all your metrics and all your capping and all your stuff, then chances are pretty good you might be being trapped. And if you want to be on the side that the books want, then you might want to look the other side. And it's tough because you see a guy like Chris Sale, right? And this is the last point I want to make about this. So you see a guy like Chris Sale and you say, like, how the fuck could he not get 6 strikeouts? Like 6 in 6 innings, 1K per inning? Like, he's not going to do that? It doesn't feel right. And it's not going to feel right. And it's not going to feel natural right away. But I promise you, your wallet will thank you in the long run. So just understanding how lines are set, not only is it based on algorithms and numbers, it's also a psychological thing in that what can we get? What do we think is going to happen? Good. Now, can we get the public to pump that side that the way the line set we think is going to lose? I promise you that goes into odds making these days.
I'm figuring out what these books have been doing too, as we've been talking about with something else that's been going on, and it's going on in this game as well. And they may have to force my hand, actually, now that I'm looking at Yoshi Yamamoto at the Yankees, striking people out 28.5% of the time on the year while walking people just 5%. Morning line 5.5 -142 on FanDuel. Best line available to that 5.5 is -140 on MGM. Yet FanDuel has a 6.5 at plus money. Pitching out 17.5 -120 juice to the over. Earned runs are at 2.5 -130. And the lineup did come out. That's why this actually means something to me. There is no judge, and let me call you 5 righties lefties really quick. Yankee game, where the hell are you? We have got 1 lefty, 2 lefty, 3 6 righties, 3 lefties as they put Grisham and Trevino down at the bottom. Oh god. Um, yeah, let's talk us a little bit of Yoshi, bro, because I thought I was gonna leave him alone, but I think they're gonna make me play him.
Yeah, there's two things in play here for Yoshi. Number one is the fact that he does operate in the zone a lot, likes to throw early strikes, likes to go right at hitters. It's the same thing Shota does. It's the same thing that quite honestly a lot of Japanese pitchers do. It's just how they learn to pitch over there. Is that you're not really there's not a whole lot of nibbling around the edges and kind of playing cat and mouse. It's nope, here's my pitches. Fuck you if you can't hit them. And so why that matters here is that you have a Yankees team who overall swing rate is extremely low. In fact, over the last 2 weeks, it is the second lowest in baseball at 44.7%. There's a reason why the Yankees also have the highest number of called, or highest percentage, I should say, of called strikes in baseball over the last 2 weeks at 18.7%, which is actually pretty consistent with their whole year. So when I look to back a prop against the Yankees, what I'm looking for is if it's an over, I look for a guy that pounds the zone because they can get to 2 strikes. I then look at what are those tendencies? What does he throw? What kind of numbers does he have on 2 strikes or on in pitchers counts? Because when you're in 2 strike mode, it's a different story and you have to protect the plate. And so then it comes into play with what are these guys going to swing at? And this is why I talk about all the time, like my hashtag is tell the story. That's telling a story of how you get to a prop. It's not taking a bunch of averages and a bunch of numbers and a bunch of trends. So when I have a team that takes a lot of pitches, when I have a team that doesn't swing very much, and when I have a pitcher that strikes guys out almost 38% of the time, I think 38, maybe even higher, when he gets into pitchers counts, it's something that I have to look at. I am going to go hitter by hitter on this one, but I think the only thing that is just kind of mind fucking me, and Sharpie, I know we talked about it this morning, is Japanese pitchers in major Japanese media markets, that being Seattle and that being New York, specifically the Yankees. I know that like Shota pitched against the Mets this year, but we're talking in the Bronx because you saw what the Bronx did to Shote last year when he was pitching, and the year before that, last year when he just got torched. So, is it possible that that Yoshi could have a blow up and still hit this? Of course it is. But these guys, these Japanese pitchers, it's just part of the culture, is that when they're pitching on a huge media stage like that, and there's a lot of Japanese media there, it's a pride thing. It's a national honor thing. They, in their minds, they are representing their country. They're representing Japan to the fans that are in the stadium that night. And you might not think that can fuck with a guy's head, but go look at Shohei's stats in the Bronx. That said, I do think that there's a world here, especially based on the lineup, where Yamamoto can get touched up a little bit, but still strike guys out.
Here we go. Yoshi, guys, make sure. He gets the Yankees over the last 15 days have been tops in the league in walk percentage, only striking out 21.5% of the time with a top 2 isolated power. So let's go see who they've seen, as they've seen the Twins yet didn't get Joe Ryan, the Giants and Angels who don't have a right-handed pitcher I'd go look to bet overs with, as they did see Luis Castillo, who went just 5 innings, had 3 strikeouts. Yet Musgrove cucked me on a 5.1 innings with 5 strikeouts. And Dylan Cease had a monster game with 9 punch-outs and 6.2 innings of work. But yet Hugh Darvish got walloped. 5.2 innings, 7 runs while striking out 5. So they have seen a few dogs in the last 15 days. Now, there's 2 things I've picked up on Japanese pitchers. And one being with Yoshi, guys, is I've only played him versus teams who take first pitches. And he's 2-0 on the year when I get a lineup that is 2/3 or more to the over. And this projected lineup is screaming over with the key I have used for Yoshi, as 1 guy is league average and 2 are projected in this lineup that are considered elite. and the rest are guys who take first pitches. You don't want to take first pitch to a guy whose worst strikeout percentage is 35% when he gets you to a 2-strike count, and that's if he gets you to a full count. Every other count, be it 0-2, 1-2, 2-2, it is better than 35%. To even see 35% on a 3-2, and so you're not walking, you're striking out a third of those at bats, that's money, guys. So what I'm getting at, guys, is you don't want to give this guy a free strike because he's going to fucking get you. And they came out with this lineup, guys. And we've got 6 guys in this lineup that will take the first pitch, with 1 being league average. And that to me says I've got to go over. Now, the only reason why I haven't jumped and pulled the trigger is I said I've learned 2 things about Japanese pitchers. The one thing, guys, they have a issue, guys, pitching at Yankee Stadium or Seattle. Now, what does New York and Seattle have in common? Not fucking much. Well, pretty much, guys, nothing. But when it comes to baseball, they have the 2 biggest Japanese markets, media markets in baseball. The media, guys, they have to do in the 3-4 days that they are there is brutal and antagonizing. Most of the time, these pitchers don't talk on the day they pitch. Today, they've got about 100 fucking little dudes sitting there like, man, people need routine. People need routine. People need routine. And I've talked about it, guys. Go back to Shota this year versus Seattle. Baptized. Media. Big media. Japanese media market. Darvish, less than 2 weeks ago. Baptized. Ohtani, his 2 times in New York. A total of 3.2 innings of work, 10 hits with more walks than strikeouts. So this has been historic, guys. Going back over the last 5 years of baseball, these guys have issues pitching in front of their media. Now, can this guy come out and be the outlier and be the one who has a great game? Yes. Can you still hit a K-prop while getting your ass kicked? Yes. Is a K-prop a lot easier to hit without Juan Soto in the lineup? You motherfucking right. I don't know how. I mean, there's something telling me I need to listen to a rule saying, hey, man, you know not to bet Japanese pitchers in New York, Sharpie. But then there's something telling me in this line, and I'm not going to tell you that I've been, what the percentages are of all these lines I've been tracking, but I'm going to tell you that FanDuel is a sharp book. And that's you need to, if FanDuel's looking a certain way after the lineups have come out, you should probably pay attention or get off your fucking bed if you're on the other side. Because FanDuel plays to the public, and you do not want to be on the side of the public more often than not. Let me talk to you guys. But it's got the key. Both times he's had the key, he's ran up those days where you could build ladders on him. So if he has a day today and you're on him, look at that 9-piece as well, guys. Call me fucking crazy. If he doesn't get walloped, it's out there. You've got that many guys who are willing to take first strike versus a octopus, a guy who's going to throw you 3 different pitches to get you out and you don't know what it's going to be. Yeah, it's either, maybe that's the way I do it. So half unit on the plus money, and if he gets walloped, then so fucking be it. Like, okay, it doesn't hurt. I don't know. That's the fucking conversations I have in my head. Anything else to add?
No, I'm probably going to stay off of it just because, like you said, and like we talked about, I've seen what major media market or major Japanese media markets do to Japanese pitchers. And I also know how extremely routine oriented they are. A good example of that is you just go back and you look, not his last start, but his start before it, when Shota got scratched and they didn't start him the next day. They actually moved him back to his next regularly scheduled start. So he had like 10 days off at Milwaukee. And what happened? He got fucking obliterated. Routine. When you take these guys out of their routines, the only exception could be sometimes a guy like Darvish, who's been in the U.S. long enough, but he still practices the same routines as when he pitched in Japan. So a guy like Yoshi, who doesn't know any better, a guy like Shohei, who had only been in MLB for a few years, and so on and so forth. These guys are so routine oriented, and that's probably why I'm just going to leave it alone.
I mean, that's probably the safe way. But if you're going under, you got some balls. I would say take the Yankees if you think he's going to get whopped. I mean, if it's there, I'm just not going to do it. Now we got something. I want to check and make sure this. No, the line is still the same. Nick Lodolo versus the Cubs. This is another freaking weird line that these books are doing, fellas. Striking people out 26% of the time while walking people 5.5% on the year. Morning line 6.5 plus 110 on DraftKings. Best line available 6.5 plus 114 on FanDuel. Pitching out 17.5 minus 120 juice to the under. Whereas earn runs 2.5 minus 125 juice to the under as well. Projected lineup is 8 righties and 1 lefty. And let's talk Lodolo.
Okay, so my in VIP, I saw this in the line last week or on Sunday when they dropped Lodolo for no discernible reason, and this is where I talked about you got to be smarter than the trends, you got to be smarter than the numbers. It told a clear story that he wasn't going to pitch well, and we hit it, and so. I don't say that to pat myself on the back. What I do, reason why I say it is to help everybody here understand that this is what they look at. Now, you go and you look at Lodolo, and you see that this guy, in his last 2 starts, has been lined at a 6.5 and has only gotten 3 Ks both times. Now, albeit he's at home instead of on the road, he gets the same team in the Cubs on a back-to-back, which normally equals less strikeouts. So 3-3 on a back-to-back, and his earned run, but that's also with not allowing very many earned runs because he's only allowed 3 earned runs over his last 2 starts. So you go and you look at his outs, and his outs are up. It was 16.5 last time. Now it's 17.5. It's been hovering between 16.5 and 17.5. And actually it's come down a little bit because I believe there was a 17.5 that was juiced to the over, which means 18 or 6 innings. So you ask yourself on a back-to-back, why do they keep pricing him at a 6.5? And more importantly, you look at the book that Sharpie just mentioned, and you see not only is it a 6.5, but it's a very bettable 6.5 to the under at minus 134 on FanDuel. That always tells me a story. And that tells me the story that Mr. Lodolo may be getting the same treatment that Hunter Green got last night, where you got people, no names, taking minus 190 shots on under 7.5 because it's a lock, or you get fucking EV or whatever dumb reason.
Positive EV play of the year.
Yeah. Positive EV on a minus 190 play. Yeah, that exists. So anyways,
as Hunter Green marched out, whatever it was, over strikeouts of the 7.
As Hunter Green, yeah. So then I go and I look at the Cubs. And while their swing metrics have been a lot better lately, I still see some discrepancies here. So number one is they still have a swinging strike rate above league average at 11.7%. They also have a contact rate in the zone lower than league average. They also have a contact rate, a chase contact rate that is still well under average. What they've been doing a lot better is they have been swinging more inside the zone. So their contact rate's gone up a little bit, but their overall take rate for strikes has gone down. Now, will that replay tonight? Maybe. Based on how it's lined, it sure looks like the books think that it will. The Cubs lineup is not out yet, but it does not look, which doesn't actually surprise me because they don't do this against lefties. They're not going to run Madrigal. Nico will be back when I believe he was out the last time that he saw him. But if this lineup is what is projected to be, I can't say for certain if I'm going to play it, but when the line talks, I trust that these billion-dollar corporations know what the fuck they're doing, and they're not just going to give you a bettable under 6.5 just cause. Okay, that's where you see the people on Twitter screaming, "Oh, lock of the day and free money," and go back and check win rates at that because it's bullshit.
Can you hear me?
You're good.
I'm gonna probably get tossed again for a minute until I come back. Eventually, when I get tossed, I shall be back. But my computer is at that point to where it's froze again, but everything's working. Arrgh. So, all right, let's talk it, guys. Nick Lodolo has a back-to-back with the Cubs, guys, where they dropped him last week to a 5.5, and he went 6 innings with 3 strikeouts, and now they jump him to a 6.5. Nah. The books don't do that shit, guys. If they do, they sure as fuck are setting a trap. As just in the way they set this line, guys, it's over or nothing. As the books don't adjust on a back-to-back, and when they adjust him up, they have smacked this year. The last being Taj Bradley versus the Red Sox, just something we've picked up on, guys, over the years. They do not adjust on a back-to-back. Now, if you do fade, you got to go with the public, guys. You fade the fucking public. Now, yes, I think my internet came back. Everything's back without me getting kicked. I feel so much better. All right. And so let's get back to it. If you do fade, guys, you've got to actually fade the public, guys. And last week, my boy was on the under 5.5. Or did you get the under 6.5? I thought it was 5.5 last week.
5.5. And you only got 3.
Yeah. You cast the under last week, 5.5.
Yeah, it was 5.5 at plus money.
Yeah. So, I mean, and now we're sitting the other way. And even if we go look through the chat and everything, oh, it's under or nothing. It's under. No, that's exactly what they want you to think. They just dropped it to a 5.5, and he only got 3. If you know my rules and you've been watching my show for years, guys, you know I've got a rule when it comes to a back-to-back. If they go low, we can go high. If they went high, we then look low unless they've proven it to us. So let's go see what he's proven. And he's proven what almost every pitcher in baseball has happened to. That means usually if you go high, you can look to the under because baseball, people adjust, guys. I don't care if you're the worst fucking team in baseball and you strike out a bunch of times, you come back to life, guys, the next game out. It just is what it is. The batters will change their approach. Right now, the batters need to change their approach. It's not Lodolo. Lodolo went 6 innings, gave up 1 earned run. This team's ISO right now is terrible. I thought we were talking about a terrible ISO earlier. No, the Cubs aren't hitting nobody. So when I go look at this guy's back-to-backs last year, throughout his whole career, he's only had 2 times, both versus the Phillies. Both times he had like 8 or 12 the first time, came back with the under on the second time. Both times put up zeros the first time he faced them, gave at least 2 to 4 runs up depending on what game the second. So will he give up a couple runs today? Yeah, probably at least 2 runs. And that's why they adjusted his runs from 1.5 to 2.5. They jumped his outs up a little bit as well because he's probably going another 6 innings, guys. Now, to me, once this lineup comes out, I'm going to look at it, go through the whiff, go through the chase, and I'm either going over, guys, or I'm letting it go. And you're going to give me plus money on the over? Yes, please. As when I looked at his analytics, guys, nothing's wrong with his pitch mix. Nothing. So everything says fire. And if we're going to talk about one guy I love more, or not more, just as much, I'll compare Lodolo to Sale, and you'll hear me all the time. They have the 2 most nastiest deliveries in the game, where they release the ball. It just shouldn't get there. It just shouldn't. It's just nasty, guys. But go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, in his last start against the Cubs, Lodolo does throw go curve 27.9% of the time. He throws it almost or a lot of the time to righties, and he throws his changeup exclusively to righties. Now, in the last game, which the projected lineup here is pretty similar, where you're probably only going to see Bellinger from the left side of the plate, but he did only go 21% curveball. Now, you go and you look, and against the curveball, you go and you look at some of these whiff percentages in the Cubs lineup, and you have guys that are more than likely going to be in tonight and were in last time. And you see Ian Happ, 42.9%, Amaya, 37.5%, Wisdom, 35.7%. So what that tells me is there is a potential here, even though he normally goes fastball change to righties primarily, and does mix in some curves. When it tells me that if they studied a scouting report and especially looked at the last start, because in the last start, he only went 21% curveball. And again, compared to a season average of 27.9. Now, on those curveballs, he only had 5 swings. So he wasn't hitting his spots on his curveballs, generated 0 whiffs. Now, the reason why this matters is because if you go back and look at his starts prior to that, you see that he's mixing in the curve a lot more early. So this potentially was a scouting report thing where it's like, hey, we're going all righties. We're going to go fastball changeup. If they were wise, they would change it tonight and they would go more curveballs early because he only threw 19 of them out of 90 pitches last time. So it's one of his best, it actually is his best put away pitch because it's got an absurd 47.3% whiff rate. So if he does that, then remember, that's a pitch that a lot of these Cubs batters didn't really see that much last time because it was primarily right-handed batters.
You said a guy with damn near a 50% whiff rate didn't have 1 whiff to his pitch. What's the odds of him rolling it back with 0 whiffs again? I mean, come on, man.
No.
Yeah. It's over or nothing. Waiting on the lineups, and I might have to get me some Bladoblo. Next one on the list, guys, is the newest guy we're going to talk about. And I might have to fucking fade him. Ryan Weathers versus the Guardians. Striking people out 22% of the time while walking people 7% on the year. Open them up 4.5 minus 115 on DraftKings, where the best line available at 4.5 is minus 140 on FanDuel. Pitching out 17.5 minus 152 juice to the over, whereas earned runs are at a 2.5 minus 155 juice to the under. Projected lineup is 6 righties, 3 lefties. Let's talk a little bit of Weathers.
Ryan Weathers. I remember I was actually in the grocery store when I got that text from you saying Weathers, and I'm like, I like it. I like it because I cap every pitcher every day. So I like it when we talk about different guys. So you look at Ryan Weathers and you're like, what the fuck happened with this guy? Like this guy used to just get torched when he was out in San Diego. Yep. Different scenario, different pitching coaches, different mix. So what's changed? Well, the first one is what's changed is his change. His change up is what I'm talking about. So he does throw that very almost exclusively to right-handed batters, which is normally who he faces. And the pitch usage has increased from 23.6% to 26.1% this year. Now, here's the key. The velo on it has dropped, but the spin and the break on it have increased. So you look at Weathers' changeup last year. It had 26.5%, 26.5 inches, of vertical drop. This year, 32.6. You look at the horizontal movement, 12.1 inches. This year, 13.4. And he's been hitting even higher than that. Then you go and you look at his sweeper. His sweeper is also another one of his primary put away pitches. And you see that the velo on it is up from 80.8 to 82.4. Spin is up from 23.90 to 24.69. But when you look at the overall break and drop on it, it's actually down. So spins up, breaks down. What that means is that he's hitting the zone more often with his sweeper. In fact, he's hitting the zone more often, period, this year, and he's getting less zone contact because when you throw a pitch that hits the zone that has more spin on it than guys are used to, then you have a potential to get whiffs. It's no surprise then that his whiff percentage on his changeup was 27.9 last year. It's a fucking absurd 40.1. But you go look at the sweeper, it was 26.1 this year, 55.2% this year. And I just told you exactly why, is that on the changeup and on the sweeper, the spin is up, the break on the changeup is up, but it's a good thing that the break on the sweeper is down because if you look at a spray chart, he would throw his sweeper and he would miss the strike zone often and would give teams a chance to take. That thing is nibbling on the corners and hitting the zone this year. So you can't do that. It forces you to swing. And that's where, when you get a pitching coach or you get some adjustments in the offseason, like a guy like Jack Flaherty, for example, where you can adjust that and guys aren't used to it, you can generate a lot of whiffs. So for Mr. Weathers, I don't think it's any surprise that his metrics have taken off this year when you look at how he's throwing his pitches compared to last year.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Now, call me crazy, guys, but this is the first time we're going to talk Ryan Weathers on this show. Well, at least in a good way. Because when the crackdown of Spider Tag game, guys, he was the leading candidate for who needed to be in the dictionary, guys, next to it. And in his 4th season in the majors, seemed to actually have figured something out, as he's never had a K per 9 higher than 7.36 in his first 3 goes in it. Yet he has an 8.4 K per 9 so far this year. So let's go check out his pitch mix, guys. And like he was saying, guys, what does he have to offer on anything? And is anything popping out? He's actually striking out righties, guys, at a career high, 21% of the year. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Not great, guys, but it's his career high. Give him a little bit of fucking credit. But it's also, guys, better than his previous high of 18.4% by a decent margin, guys. And it's also his highest K percentage of 24.5 versus the left-handed side since being in the big leagues, ever as well, guys. So he's actually figuring some shit out, as he is pretty much a 3-pitch pitcher. Fastball sweeper to lefties, fastball sweeper change to righties. And when, like he said, when I went and looked at his pitches, I seen pretty much the same shit. Fastball up 1 miles per hour, 100 miles on his RPM, which is his spin rate. As his sweeper is up 2 miles per hour, also 100 RPM. And holy shit, like he said, guys, the change is it. That's it, guys. That's the difference of who Ryan Weathers is this year. As the RPMs are way up more than 100, vertical break 6 inches, and 1.5 on his horizontal. So let's go run this projected lineup versus pitch mix, guys, and see if we get in. And that was before I wanted to do the lineup, and I said, why don't you go look at a couple other things, guys? You know that Cleveland's one of the best teams in the league at walking, and they usually don't strike out, which they're only striking out 21% of their at-bats. And I had to go back to May 10th, guys, to find a lefty I would bet on. And that was Crochet, who put up an 11-piece in 6 innings. Now, he is not Garrett Crochet, guys. Let's not fucking say that. 24.5% versus lefties, 45% versus lefties to a team who runs 3 fucking lefties. He's not Garrett Crochet, guys. So, can we get in, guys? Because I was actually thinking maybe I should be able to bet this guy at a 4.5 minus 115 when it opened. And then all the juice came in. And then I'm like, okay, well, is this the right line? Yeah, he's 50% to this. It should have opened at minus 115. And it's either the public or people like us who actually dig in there and realize, like, Ryan Weathers is a different guy. But we're better than that, guys. And then I go dig through, guys, and I'm like, what has caused this man struggle? What has caused this guy not to hit 5 strikeouts? And what I found out, guys, is when a team that doesn't chase in the top 10 or top 5, and a team that makes contact and chase contact in the top 5, he's had major fucking issues. He hasn't had more than 3 in any of those games, be it versus the Dodgers and the Yankees. Then when we look at Cleveland's overall numbers, guys, they're top 6 in the league in chasing, yet they're also 6th best in the league in making contact when they chase. So what's going to give? Is it the chase or the chase contact, guys? And if I get enough guys in this lineup that make contact when they chase, I'm going to go under 4.5. It's shown me, guys, even when he played the Washington Nationals, that's the closest I can match up, as they're 10-10. They still only had 3. 3 just kept popping up, guys. And give me 6 guys who make contact when they chase. That seems to be his disaster or his downfall to his K prop. And I'm willing to get in, fellas. I'm willing to get in. So when at first I thought I wanted over, I know this team makes contact, and that seems to be his little bugaboo, fellas. And I'm willing to go under if I get the right lineup. Anything else?
No, just that Weathers still probably has some value from past name recognition. What I mean by that is he was always a guy you could pick on to go under. But if he goes out, because I mean, he's kind of been on a strikeout tear. So if he does go out there, and obviously if you're on the under, I hope he doesn't. But if he does go out there and just torches the Guardians, your days of getting value on a Ryan Weathers strikeout line are probably done, because the average capper doesn't go through that sort of metrics and stuff, but the books know that stuff. The books know his spins up. The books know his velo's up. I guarantee you that. So again, though, I'll just repeat, lines aren't set based on that. Lines are set based on how do they get equal action on both sides of a bet. And because when there's equal action on both sides of a bet, the book makes money no matter what happens, because the losers pay the winners and the book keeps the juice. That's bookmaking 101. Now, there are spots where just like we do as bettors, we try to have a banger, right? It's like 2 units, 3 units, because holy fuck, like Sharpie and I when we were on Zach Wheeler, and invested way more units than any man should. But that worked out. But the point here, though, is that there are spots that they can use to have bangers like that, and that's what we're trying to teach you guys, to pay attention to those. So, but with Weathers, this is pretty well set, probably where it should be. So if the line is set where it should be and you want to get in, that's where you can go look at the metrics and the averages.
Now it is hard for me to go under, because how you run 3 lefties? I mean, like, that is what the one dude does, strike out at a decent clip.
Mm-hmm.
Not even saying 24% is great, but it's like, okay, dude, if you're out there long enough, I don't think you get Ramirez, but you can get Naylor, blah, blah, blah. Run it. Oh, well, who cares? So let's talk a guy everybody wants to hear about, fellas. And actually, the line's dropping on him. Garrett Crochet versus the Red Sox, striking people out 35.5% of the time while walking people 7.5% on the year. Morning line was 7.5 minus 125 on DK. Best available line is 7.5 minus 104 on FanDuel. Pitching outs is 16.5 minus 130 juice to the under, whereas earned runs are at a 1.5 minus 160 juice to the over. Projected lineup, as that lineup still not out, is 7 righties, 2 lefties. Let's talk Crochet.
Well, I mean, I'll start with the question. Is there any lineup that the Red Sox could possibly put out that would make anybody want the under here? Okay, the correct answer is no. So then you're looking at 2 options. You're looking at passing, or you're looking at going over. And that's just the way it is sometimes when you have these high strikeout pitchers and high strikeout teams like like Colorado, like Seattle, like Sale back when he was in Seattle. Just those are your only options, guys. It's over or nothing. So you go and you look, and I do see the line is coming down. I guess I'm not as concerned, because I'm going and looking and I'm seeing, like, who else could the Red Sox put in that would be like a super low strikeout candidate where he could face Crochet 3 times or 2 or 3 times, and there's just a very, very low chance that he strikes out. Well, you go and you look at the slider, which is the primary put away pitch for Crochet, and you see that of the projected lineup here, you see just Connor Wong, 39%. You see even Devers at 28. You see guys 38-9, 30, 40, 42. There's just not a lot. And then even Bobby Dahlbeck, who I know he's projected to bat 8th, 45.8% whiff percentage against a slider and 54.5% K percentage. Even if he only sees Crochet twice, you're telling me he's not going to get 1? No, he's fucking striking out, period. And there's just not many lineups where, with the combination of pitches that Crochet throws, including the cutter, because the Red Sox actually have several guys that have a pretty decent whiff percentage to a cutter that are projected to be in the lineup. You go and you look at Tyler O'Neill, who's projected to bat 3rd, 48.6% whiff percentage and 50% K percentage. You even look at Devers, 35% whiff percentage to a cutter. So it's a cut fastball. It's a cut fastball. Like league average is like 25, 26%. So there's way, way too much swing and miss potential in this to look at anything but the over.
Man, I'm dying, bro, because I'm over here like I thought maybe Yoshida was getting called up and this or that, bro, and I'm looking for it like, oh, why is the line dropping, And the only other reason if they're not is because Dominic Smith's gonna be in the lineup, who's a guy who doesn't whiff at anything and who's great at making chase contact, and he'd be the only fucking guy who's not paid to strike out. Like, I don't get why the line's coming down. And shout out to this guy, Jordan Leander. He's got blue check. Maybe he's cool or something on Twitter. Here's your Red Sox starting lineup tonight against Max Fried, Romy Gonzalez, Wilmer Abreu, Trevor Story, Tristan Casas, Tyler O'Neill, Yoshida, Chris. He goes, oh, wait, these are all guys hurt. They don't have nobody, bro. Like, they can't get fucking better. I mean, and let's talk about it, guys. And I wrote this up last night that I'm about to read you. So I'm going to read you my write-up from last night, and I'm going to take you through me making this line. I mean, can they just not put a pair of yoppers on him is what I wrote. Just don't put titties on him, and I'm going to bet him. Because we all know we want to inverse the Red Sox versus the lefty, and so do the books. As the Red Sox over the past 200 plate appearances, they're not walking, striking out league worst 28%, while having a bottom 10 isolated power. So let's go see who they've seen, guys, that we'd bet on. As I called out Max Fried on Monday and have been kicking myself since, as he went 7 innings and had 13 strikeouts. Missed Scooble in the Tigers series, and they had games versus the Rays and A's, Brewers. All guys who I don't have guys to look to strike out, at least for a lefty. And then, guys, that's who they've seen in that time span. So their numbers technically are even worse than what they fucking are. So he was a 6.5, guys, last week to a Brewers team not striking out. It was juiced, and he still ended up hitting. That's how I knew, okay, we're going to get a 7.5. We look at his win percentage to a 7.5 over his last 10. It's 40%. That's plus money normally. But when you got a team striking out 28, you got to move it up a whole number, and that's where we get the juice. Now, it opened up 125 to minus 140, and that's exactly where I expected this line to be. And I got in 7.5 minus 125 to the over. I'm not here to be like, oh, I beat the line mover. I got this. No. I fucking woke up and bet this shit because I did all my work last night, guys. And at the end of the day, there's nobody they could bring off the lineup, off the bench, because they're going to have to bring in like 3 great guys for me to run from this. When I ran through this, guys, not anybody, I mean, granted, Westbrook, there's not enough freaking plate appearances. Not anybody in this lineup is considered elite at not whiffing at any 3 of his pitches. If anything, they may be league average versus one of his pitch. Are you fucking kidding me? Now, what does scare me, guys, is last week, this man did strictly throw 4-seam cutter for the majority of the game. 7 breaking balls until his last inning when he decided to open up. And you could do that versus the Red Sox, and I'm not scared. Like this man said, everybody in this lineup is league average or worse when it comes to a 4-seam or a cutter. No one is considered elite, guys. What are you going to do? Bring in the freaking Cleveland Guardians? You can't. So, guys, it's over or nothing, and I am on the over. And, yeah. Anything else? Are you muted or am I? You're muted.
Sorry. If you want to know why he threw fastball cutter primarily, look at the opponent. So he pitched against the Brewers. The Brewers for the entire season have had one of the lowest chase rates, actually one of the lowest swing rates in Major League Baseball. It was a different approach than what he should bring to the table tonight. The Brewers, over the last 2 weeks, they are chasing at a 31.6% clip, which is below league average. And even over the course of the season, if you run it over the course of 2024, they have one of the top 5 lowest chase rates in baseball. Where does Croce now? You go and look, and this is part of why I have my hashtag as tell the story, because you go and you look at where Croce throws his slider. And if you look at a spray chart of it, you will see that the vast majority of them run low and away hard. In fact, In the low and away quadrant, if you're looking at it as like a square, 76 of them compared to 38 in the zone for the year, and very few that are actually up high. So when you have a team that takes a lot of pitches, you tend to throw in the zone more so that you can get swings and that you're not running up 2, 3, 4 ball counts, et cetera, et cetera. So now let's go look at the Red Sox. The Red Sox are chasing at a crazy rate. 34.1%, which is well above league average of 31.8. League average for chase contact is 63.1. The Red Sox are down at 60.1. They also have a swinging strike rate that is 1% above league average, and that was over the course of the period that I measured. That was going against some pretty mediocre pitchers. Some really mediocre pitchers. So it's a different approach because it was a different opponent. So I would fully expect Crochet to try to use a lot more of his chase stuff tonight. Corey Lee is projected to be his catcher. I believe he's caught him before. Yes.
I'd have to actually look into that.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying is that when you approach, you have to approach by opponent. And when you have a team that's going to just take pitches, especially take pitches that are outside of the zone, then you want to go fastball more. You want to go cutting more. Those are the pitches that go in the zone.
Man, if he throws the slider at all today, this fucker's putting Freed's 13 and putting his dick in the dirt, dude.
Yeah.
He may put up a number, guys, where everybody in this lineup is terrible versus the slider. Terrible.
Yep.
Like, what are they gonna do? There's two guys in this lineup who make chase contact. Okay, but they all whiff at everything he throws. So it's like, well, okay, like, and they're lefties. They're gonna bring in good lefties versus Garrett fucking Crochet, who you brought up earlier to me. They're like, Sharpie at home, he strikes out lefties at damn near 50% of the time. On the year, it's 44%, guys. And you're not putting in good lefties versus this guy because you know how dog he is, unless they are a good lefty. So he's striking out good lefties damn near 50% of the time at home. Like, all right, bro. Okay. I mean, Books, y'all going to get sausaged on this one.
Yep. Corey Lee is projected to be the catcher. Lee has caught him 6 times, and he has a 35.6% K percentage with Lee catching him. That includes last game against the Brewers.
And that was a 35. I mean, and even if Lee wants to decide to I mean, hopefully he's a smart guy and starts going and sees these guys can't hit a slider either, but they can't hit anything this guy's got to offer, bro. So just show up to the party, Crochet. You go 6 innings, and you go cash us that over. And I am on that over 7.5. So I'm going to run the Cubs lineup when it comes out, guys, and look to bet Lodolo over. I'm going to probably, I'm going to look at the Yankees a little more. And if I do pull the trigger on Yoshi, I'm just going to go half unit in case if I know better. And sometimes you still, like, not to jump, but you still jump, like I've been reading the Bible and you shouldn't be doing that. So maybe I shouldn't be doing that. So questions, fellas, questions. As always, my boy, appreciate you talking freaking baseball on screen. We literally do this every day, just not on screen. Let these fine people know what you got going on and where they can find you.
Absolutely. At Spin Doc Sports, my tout prop is now 22-8 on the year. I don't even remember what the record is overall. We're closing in on up 70 units lifetime. So it's a lot. It wins. And so I will have another one of those coming up very shortly. And over in VIP, like I said, it's been a really, 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 really good week. It's been a really good month. Finished up close to 11 units last week in 1 week. We're up again this week, and I am really liking some of these spots for the weekend. So I told VIP today, sometimes some of them give me shit because they're like, you're so selective with your plays. I'm like, yeah. And what happens? Well, we win. Well, there you go. There's your answer. So, I was saying Mike might be having a pretty expansive card tonight because there's more than a few spots that I like.
I'm over here checking out the lineup that just came out for Cleveland. I'm not saying I'm in love, but they at least took Quan out of it.
Quan's not in though, right? Is he?
No.
No,
I mean, he's a guy who does make contact, but he is a lefty, so
Yeah.
still got to run through the chase contact. And that bottom of the lineup looks to be pick onable. So, like I always say, if they give me 2/3 either which way, I'll go under or over with it. So I'm gonna look for chase contact when it comes to Weathers, and the lineup just came out. So appreciate you guys all for tuning in. If you haven't, which I mean, I bet you a lot of you haven't, smash the freaking like button, guys. We do this out of our own generosity. It takes us time, hours to put this all together. Come on and give it to you guys. And we give you the way we bet. We're literally telling you how we get to our bets. We're not shady. If you have hours out your day too, we're telling you how to go fucking do it. We're not freaking chintzy about it. So get in where you fit in, guys. Stay solid. And yeah, have a blessed weekend.